Today we're going to open an exhibition that celebrates 60 years of history of UNRISD with an exhibition called The Art of Equality, A Journey to Justice. You're going to be able to visit this exhibition from today until October 20th, and I hope you will do so, because this is one of the most amazing stories in the UN system. Institutes of the United Nations were created back in the 60s to give all member states what they need to participate on an equal footing in international organizations. So they have a noble cause that they try to carry out for decades with very little money, relying 100% on extra budgetary contributions. It's a very difficult mission to tackle. 60 years of history is the case for other institutes in the UN. UNRISD has been constantly ahead of its time. And you can see in this exhibition these ideas that they carried through the decades. So, an honor for us to host this exhibition. To mark this moment, we also have a few formal speeches, of course. You will listen to our speakers in a few seconds, and also a special guest, Ronin Turiaf, who's an NBA champion and NBA junior ambassador. It's not difficult to spot. He's the tallest person in the gathering, of course. But you will also see him here. I know you've been told this thousands of times, but my turn. And to get started with the formal opening act, I want to call to the podium the Director General of UN Geneva, Ms. Tatiana Valovaya. Madam, you have the floor.
Excellencies, dear colleagues, dear friends, for me it's a special pleasure to welcome you to this exhibition, which is really an amazing exhibition because it tells a story, success story, I would say, of a UN institution, United Nations Research Institute on Social Development. As it was already said, I think this institute has been always ahead of times. Because being created 60 years ago, he really started researching a very important part of the economic social theory, social development. And today, when we are speaking about sustainable development, when we are speaking about sustainable development goals, to a very large extent, our ideas are based on the results and the activities of this institute. And I take this opportunity really to warmly congratulate Paul Ladd, the whole team of the Institute, with this anniversary. Because really the Institute has provided us with many breakthrough ideas. When the Institute was speaking that development is a multifaceted concept, and you need to have development indicators which might be not always universal in the regions. It is a revolution, and it's still something very, very revolutionary, because when we speak about sustainable development, we always say that we have to change our mindsets, we have to understand how we measure economic growth, what is considered economic and social success these days, how we really can create economic and social paradigm which is not leaving anybody behind and which is providing decent and enjoyable life to everybody here all around the world. I know about financial difficulties of the Institute, and we're really very sorry that now in the times of the financial constraints, the Institute is having these financial difficulties, like many other UN institutions, unfortunately. But I really hope that such a brilliant exhibition, which really tells us the success story, but also speaks about the future, would allow us all to support the work which has been done and really to allow this journey to justice to every citizen of our countries all around the world. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Director General. It's now a great personal pleasure, it's an honor for me to give the floor to Paul Ladd, who's the director, has been the director for a number of crucial years of the United Nations Research Institute for Social Development. Paul, what a pleasure.
Excellencies, the Director General of the UN Office at Geneva, friends, collaborators, it's a great pleasure that you've joined us here today for one in a series of events that celebrates 60 years of the UN Research Institute for Social Development, or UNRISD. The event that you join us at today is called The Art of Equality, a Journey to Justice. And today we draw on the power of art to focus on all types of inequalities, the central concern of UNRISD's current work. And much like UNRISD's work, the powerful artworks presented today highlight different types of inequalities. Economic inequalities in income and wealth, where the richest 1% in the world have taken 2/3 of all new wealth created in the last 3 years. On social inequalities, those related to gender or migration or identity. Women hold just a quarter of all parliamentary seats, and they earn 77 cents for every dollar that a man earns. And those inequalities created by the climate crisis and environmental degradation. 32 million people who lost their homes last year because of extreme weather events. Now, these are not just numbers. People feel the injustice. Our artists feel the injustice. Some of these works express frustration, others hope, but all show that inequality is not just some abstract technical concern. Equality and justice are important in people's lives. It's about how people relate to each other, how they care about people they may not have met and yet still feel a connection, feel empathy, feel sympathy, like they can walk in their shoes. I really hope you enjoy walking around the exhibit later and thinking about the pieces, and also feel inspired for what you can do. I'd like to thank the team behind this event and exhibit, the communications team that has led on it, Karima, Sergio, David, Osiami, but also all the other staff in UNRISD who collectively create what UNRISD stands for. Also to Ronnie Turiaf, for sponsoring, for attending, but also sponsoring some of the prizes and handing them out later. It's a great pleasure to have you here. And above all, to the artists who sent their works to us, over 1,000. Those selected by the jury to be shown here today can be truly proud of their work. Now, UNRISD was set up in 1963. It was the brainchild of Jan Tinbergen and Gunnar Myrdal, who would both go on to collect Nobel Prizes for economics in 1969 and 1974, respectively. They felt strongly that the social dimension of economic modernization was missing in the discussion, and that the project of economic development itself was likely to fail as a result. They also foresaw the importance of the UN system having an independent research function, separate from policy and operations, as an asset that could improve the work of the entire organization. The founding of UNRISD took place more than a full decade before the establishment of the United Nations University. And so UNRISD was a trailblazer in adding the power of research to the UN. Trailblazing is also an apt word for some of the groundbreaking work that the Institute has done in the 6 decades since. Early work on measuring development, laying the ground for the Human Development Index that came later in 1990. In the 1970s on agriculture, food and the Green Revolution, stressing the importance of small-scale farmers and their role in food security and sustainability. On the social dynamics and impacts of globalization in the period leading up to and following the 1995 Copenhagen Summit on Social Development. And critically, on gender equality and women's empowerment, including on measuring women's unpaid care work, leading us now to have a central role in research and policy on economies and societies of care. Under one of our great and late directors, Tandika Makandawiri, We did research on the importance of universal approaches to social policy, including for social protection. And in the 8 years that I've been privileged to be director, we've led work on the social and solidarity economy, on the role of elites in sustainable development, and also on what it would mean to have real benchmarks for businesses to follow if they want their activities to be truly sustainable. A body of work hugely valued by our network, shaping development discourses and influencing national and global policy. Also, a body of work supported by partners in Geneva, an ecosystem of international Geneva that has strengthened and grown around us, fostering close collaborations with the ILO, with UNCTAD, the human rights agencies, UNDP, UNITA, and many others. So what of the future? There are, as you know, many challenges facing humanity, fundamental justice issues like extreme poverty that remain unresolved, the climate crisis unaddressed, conflict and displacement, marshalling new technologies so that they can serve people and protect their dignity. It's very likely that we will have a World Summit on Social Development in 2025. Unlike before in Copenhagen, UNRISD will be ready to provide support to governments and others with the purpose of keeping people at the centre, to make sure that the 2030 Agenda and the SDGs lead on people. As an extra budgetary agency in the UN, not drawing 1 cent from the central UN budget, we rely on the generous contributions from governments, foundations, and others. And our funders and partners have always believed in our model. Research for the public good, research that pays special attention to the needs and priorities of low and middle-income countries and their people, and that gives extra attention to marginalised voices. Ultimately, research for transformative social change. With the right support and focus, UNRISD will be well placed for the next 60 years. And as this event is a celebration, I'd be grateful if you could join me in applauding the Institute, its former and current staff, and despite being small, the fact that we've been able to bring a vision to the world. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Paula, Director of UNRISD. You mentioned it in your address, the art behind us, behind me, in front of you, brought by 39 plus artists from 22 different geographical realities. And this is where I suggest we delve into. And for that, I have the pleasure to call to the mic, Karima Sharif, who acted as the curator of this exhibition. She will drive us through the exhibition that then you can also visit during a guided visit after the formal act of opening. So, Karima, over to you.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks for coming. And I'll be your guide through this journey today. I wanted to start with the claim of this campaign, Imagine Equality, where if we want a just, sustainable world, we need to first imagine it. And that's really the call of this expo, is to unlock our collective imagination for a better world. And this is what we ask our artists. We launched our call for artists in April. We have more than 1,000 people submitting the artwork. It was a very hard choice, but we managed to select top 39 artists, as Francisco said, from 23 countries across the 6 regions. So this is really a journey, and we imagine it in 3 steps. So we want to go back in the past, as Paul mentioned, like all our history, the last 60 years, all the main milestones happened in our common history, human history, and then going back to the present. So to the present and looking at the challenges that we're going through today. So through gender justice, social justice, economic justice, and environmental and climate justice. So through the lenses of art, we're going through what the artists feel, what we all going through. But now we want to end and look at the future. That's really UNRISD. uniqueness is to be able to look in the future and what research has been doing. So we want to project you in the future where there's an eco-social world, an ecological and social world that respects people and planet. And there we have artworks from artists that have a vision as well for the future. We'll then end with your inspiration. We want your voices as well. So we have here behind me the Champions for Change role. So we're all champions for this change. And we invite you to share your quote, "Imagine a world where," so that we can collect all your visions. And talking about champions, I want to invite here our not only champions on the field, but also in real life. And it's been our chair for this expo. And he will announce the 5 selected artists for this special award. So I'd like to call here Ronnie Toriaf.
Thank you, Karima. It's an honor to be here as a chairman of the jury. We were 10 incredible leaders, all of whom are passionate about art and social change. We came together to select outstanding original pieces of art that embodied the essence of justice and equality. I would like to mention my fellow jury members: Gabriela Ramos, Assistant Director General for Social and Human Science; Clara Gouy, I'm sorry if I mispronounce your name, UN Geneva. She's here? She's here. Here we go. Did I say Gouy right? Okay, perfect. I'm so relieved. UN Geneva Art Collection Manager Joseph Fowl, Heads of Art and Culture at the World Economic Forum; Lisa Kim, Director of Ford Foundation Gallery; Kumi Naidu, Human Rights and Environmental Justice Activist; Nina Sky, Musical Artist; El Cid, Artist; Joyce Di Donato, Singer and Producer; and Yasmini Arboleda, the People's Artist for NYC Civic Engagement Commission. All of the jury voted on 3 criteria, 3 groups: uniqueness and originality, technique and aesthetic, message and significance. And I think that we are all waiting to see who won the award. And I will definitely invite you, after I say the name, you will see underneath the winners, there is postcards about it, so you can learn all about the artist. For social justice, this award recognizes the artworks that makes us think about fairness, accessibility, and human rights, ensuring that people reach their full potential. And the winner is Enfant Volé by William from Cameroon. Let's clap for him. For economic justice, this award acknowledges artwork that delve into economic disparities, casting light on issues of wealth distribution, equitable economic opportunities. And the winner is Subay Baja by Otto Soraya, Argentina. For gender justice, this award shines spotlight on artwork that sparks conversation about gender equalities, challenges stereotype, and empower diverse voices. And the winner is Cleaners by Alida Imele, Cameroon. We have some happy people. We love this. For climate and environmental justice, this award commends artwork that illuminates the urgency of climate action, raising awareness about sustainability and environmental equity. The winner is Preserve the Environment by Aksanti Bienfeba, Uganda. And last but not least, for the category The New Eco-Social World, This award applauds artwork that inspires hope, vision of a better world for the people and the planet. Drum roll. And the winner is Mer Terre by Lantogaran from Réunion Island, France.